First of all, on behalf of the Development Authority of Fulton County, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. We're excited to be here and look forward to addressing some key points to clarify the work of the authority. If you could please hold your questions until the end of the presentation so we can move quickly through the content, it'd be appreciated and most productive. Slide, please. Who we are and what we do. I'm not going to read this whole slide to you, but want to point out we stimulate quality economic development in Fulton County by expanding and diversifying the tax base, creating jobs, retaining existing businesses, and sustaining quality of life for the residents throughout Fulton County. Slide.
Mr. Turbo, wait, if you can, and maybe it's just my screen, it looks like your picture is large, but the presentation is not. Is anyone else having that issue?
The presentation is large for me.
Okay, maybe I just have the wrong view. All right, go right ahead.
Okay. In 2021, we have new board leadership, and as our hope with meetings like these, there's an opportunity for new understanding of our work so we can look for new chances to work together with the Fulton County Board of Commissioners and APS for the benefit of our community. Slide. Our leadership this year is composed of 3 Atlanta residents. 2 of us are APS grads, and our kids are APS grads. Myself, I'm a product of Atlanta that grew up playing on the floors of City Hall during the Maynard Jackson's first 2 administrations and attended both R.N. Fickett and Frederick Douglass High School, or as us natives call it, Doug. My son is a graduate of Drew Charter. Sam Bako is our treasurer, former chairman and CEO of Fulton County City of Atlanta Land Bank Authority, a 2000 graduate of Leadership Atlanta, a board member for the PATH Foundation, attended Northside High School, and his son currently attends Drew Charter. Our secretary, Dr. Samuel Jolly, served as the 14th and 17th president of Morris Brown College and CEO of the Atlanta University Center for 6 years. Senator Brandon Beach, our vice chair, understands the importance transit plays in many of our residents' lives, and is a co-author of House Bill 930, created the Atlanta Region Transit Link Authority that seeks to provide equitable access to job centers. Slide, please. We know we need to provide more ways to educate our stakeholders like you and the public beyond the headlines. If there's a project in the city of Atlanta, we send the analysis to Dr. Herring and can share with those APS board members that express an interest moving forward. Slide. In my recent meetings with stakeholders, I've learned that we need to explain more about our key differentials. Slide. While serving the Development Authority Board and before my time as chair, I persuaded the previous leadership to adopt enhancements to our MFBE policy. We are the only development authority in this state, to my knowledge, that has goals that go beyond an undefined best effort standard, including supporting other industries outside of construction. Recommended percentage levels go beyond the build. The enhanced policy pushes companies that receive incentives to use MBs for 26.7 and FBs for 11.1% of subcontracted work, requiring that these companies submit detailed plans on the front end, sharing their strategies for successful implementation. These percentage levels are counted beyond the standard bill as we encourage the use of MBs and FBs during the project planning, construction, and ongoing operations, including services such as architecture, engineering, interior design work, accounting, landscaping, legal, marketing, property management, etc. We're in the process of shifting to an online tracking program so we can gather metrics critical to the program's success and are excited about its pending rollout. Slide. Only we have the ability to work across Fulton County and within all of its municipalities to bring projects like Microsoft Data Center to East Point and Palmetto, along with cloud AI office space at Atlantic Yards. Slide. Global Payments acquired Heartland Payment System, which was headquartered in New Jersey, and consolidated the headquarters in another DFC project in 3 Alliance building in Atlanta. They maintained and renovated office space in Sandy Springs and purchased equipment for their Atlanta data center. Slide. I'll slow it down a little bit. Vetting process. There are some misconceptions about our authority's vetting process. Some critics claim we just rubber stamp anything and everybody that comes before us, the board. Nothing could be further from the truth. We do indeed make it look easy, but just like many things, it's much harder than it looks. Our staff diligently vets these projects. We typically receive applicants several months in advance, and the staff takes considerable time reviewing the need for an incentive. There is no one size fits all when it comes to economic development. We look at the various aspects. We look at many various aspects. One primary indicator are the current taxes being paid. The DFC seeks a 5 times hurdle rate for proposed products, meaning new development taxes exceed the current taxes by a minimum of 5 times, even during the 10-year discount period. In addition to the hurdle rate, the authority pays close attention to extraordinary costs of proposed products, including, but not limited to, system improvements, community givebacks, the historical and current state of the property, and site challenges. Many times, the incentive amount is actually less than some of these costs. The authority also considers job creation, neighborhood and community support, overall competitiveness, and recruiting tenants on a national and global level. The authority incentives are typically more conservative and less robust than those offered by other jurisdictions. The incentives are only approximately 25% net discount over a 10-year incentive period. These incentives are one of the few tools Fulton County has to compete with other jurisdictions. Ultimately, our staff takes all these factors into consideration before bringing a project before the DAFC board. This is intentional. The goal is to only bring quality projects before the board and to also not knowingly set up developers to fail, embarrassing them in public meetings, wasting our time and theirs, sending signals that Fulton County is closed for economic development opportunities. If a project does not have the merits that warrant incentive approval, those conversations happen long before any DAFC board member meeting, and those projects are not put forward for discussion. Slide, please. GATSB 77 reporting. We have established a process working with Ernst & Young to provide timely and accurate financial reporting. The purpose of GATSB 77 is to clarify government financial statements, to first show how tax incentives affect government's future ability to raise resources and meet financial obligations, and second, the impact of those incentives have on government financial position and economic condition. We take the lead coordinating with municipalities, tax assessors, county finance division. We go above and beyond what is required to provide economic impact analysis that include new net revenue impact reporting for all taxing jurisdictions involved. Slide, please. I'm going to turn it over to our treasurer, Samuel Bako, so that he can share with you the positive impact that the DFC work does.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and always a pleasure to present alongside you. Now, let's turn our attention to the positive economic impact of our projects the last couple of years in the county, city, and APS. Next slide, please. Fulton County, more tax dollars, more benefits, more quickly. More tax dollars, more benefits, more quickly. This slide shows it all by the numbers. Our closed transactions in 2019 and 2020, providing significant investment and job creation throughout Fulton County. In those 2 years, we had 41 economic development opportunities representing more than $45 billion in overall economic impact, $3.6 billion in capital investment, more than $200 million in community benefits and infrastructure improvements, saving our local governments this expense. We'll talk through some of these in a few slides. More than $380 million estimated in new tax dollars over the 10-year incentive period, 29,000 plus permanent jobs, and more than 14,000 temporary construction jobs. These are both approximations. 997 affordable housing units. Next slide, please. Atlanta, more tax dollars, more benefits, more quickly. By the numbers, DAFC transactions in 2019 and 2020 provided significant investment and job creation in the city of Atlanta. Projected numbers include more than $2.5 billion in capital investment, more than $159 million in community benefits and infrastructure improvements, saving Atlanta this expense. More than $57 million in tax dollars, new tax dollars, by the way, over the 10-year incentive period of City of Atlanta, and more than $82 million in new tax dollars for APS. And yes, I said new tax dollars for APS. 20,000 plus permanent jobs, 9,000 plus temporary construction jobs, 777 affordable housing units. Next slide, please. Atlanta, more community benefits, more than 159 million in community benefits and infrastructure improvements were provided, saving us collectively this expense, which could have come from existing tax dollars. You might ask, what are some of these community benefits? Examples include street level improvements, better pedestrian access, environmental benefits from sustainable design, social impacts provided through better access to affordable housing or retail options, health impacts from access to fresh food options. An example, alleviate food deserts. Next slide, please. On this side, there are community benefit examples related to infrastructure. The project at 1105 West Peachtree with the Google expansion will contribute land and improvements to the Midtown Art Walk, strengthening existing infrastructure for a model tunnel, and realign a dangerous intersection at 12th Street and West Peachtree. At Midtown Union, MetLife has agreed to construct a new city street and public pedestrian space. The property is requested by Midtown Alliance at an approximate cost of $10 million. They will also bury all utilities and power lines on the public right-of-way, representing a $2.5 billion cost to the company and not to taxpayers. Next slide, please. Here are environmental related examples in Atlanta. Our project in Peoplestown remedied a 100-year-old stormwater line made of brick to benefit the project and neighboring communities and rid current flooding issues. It's located at 72 Milton. A project on Hamilton Avenue involves significant environmental remediation that is vast deposits of potentially hazardous lime that has been allowed to sit for too many years. Our tax incentive is helping rid that site of this contamination. Next slide, please. These are connectivity and mentoring community benefit examples. We helped improve connectivity to the historic English Avenue neighborhood and surrounding communities, working in conjunction with Georgia Tech, the Path Foundation, and the Beltline to create trailheads and refurbish bridges, including the Bridge to Nowhere at Echo Street. Our deals facilitate mentoring programs, including one developer that will partner with the SCORE Association to help startups and existing small businesses achieve success through education and mentorship. Next slide, please. We show here art and education-related community benefit examples. We're supporting the local arts community, including a project that involves the collaboration with and relocation of Hathaway Gallery, a meaningful effort to sponsor and show contemporary art and featuring a 4,000 square foot public art wall. Last month, for Spelman and CAU, the authority approved a refinancing of existing bond issues at an historically low interest rate, expected to result in reduced payments of millions of dollars, including release of current reserve funds that will be used to reduce debt and fund renovations. Also, $1 million in cash was returned to the schools for crucial funding of educational services. Next slide, please. Represented here are more community benefit examples for Atlanta. Our tax incentive program provided an affordable student housing option for students attending Georgia State, Morehouse College, Spelman College, and Clark Atlanta University. Our work also facilitated the redevelopment of an existing residential facility that had been 75% vacant, left in a dilapidated condition, and located in a neighborhood that severely lacked safe, clean, modern, and updated high-quality, affordable, and workforce housing. With DAFC's assistance, the Vesta Adams Park project will preserve and increase the supply of affordable and workforce housing units in the city of Atlanta, as 100% of the units will be targeted to renters earning between 60 and 80% of AMI. Next slide, please. I will now move our presentation over into the capable hands of Rose Burton of Ernst & Young. Rose, your turn.
Thank you. Good morning, Board of Commissioners and APS board members. I am also another proud graduate from APS. Thank you for the opportunity. Jeff Rash, EY Managing Director of Property Tax, and I will provide background information and a tax analysis of an example Development Authority of Fulton County, DAFC Bonds for Title Incentive Project. The example project is Terminus 200, Class A office building located in the city of Atlanta, Peachtree Road and Piedmont Road. Approximately 500,000 square feet, and the capital investment was approximately $150 million. 2,500 new full-time jobs. Note Terminus 200 received a letter of inducement from the Development Authority of Fulton County in October of 2006, and it was completed in 2009. Discussions between the developer and the DAFC took place before and during the lead up to the 2008 recession, a challenging overall time in economic development, as we all know. This project was approved for a 10-year property tax incentive starting at 50% reduction year one, with an annual increase in new taxes paid by 5% per year over a 10-year period. A conservative overall business approach. And also overall a 25% net reduction incentive schedule over the 10 years, as mentioned by the chairman. The result and bottom line from our analysis, net new positive tax collections to all taxing jurisdictions under the 10-year incentive period. Next slide, please. Jeff, I'd like for you to provide an overview of the tax analysis and some of our key takeaways. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rose. Good morning, commissioners and APS school board members. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. As this slide demonstrates, we'll talk about the tax impact for the Terminus 200 building there at Peachtree in Piedmont. Year 2010 was the first year that the property tax incentive was in place. This first line will depict that if the building was not constructed, APS would have generated $182,089 in tax revenue for calendar year 2010. Because of the construction that was undertaken, the incentive at 50% was $303,716. APS was able to collect taxes in the amount of $303,716, which resulted in a net increase in taxes of just under $122,000. If we fast forward to 2015, which is about the halfway period between the life of the incentive, if this project had still remained undeveloped, APS would have collected taxes in the amount of $182,475. The amount of the incentive was $255,488, which allowed APS to collect $766,465 in tax revenue, which is a net increase of just under $584,000 in tax. Finally, if we look at the amount of tax collected last year during calendar year 2020, which this project was fully rolled off the incentives and was taxed at 100% value. If the property had remained undeveloped for the full 10-year period, you're looking at a tax collection of $174,082 for APS. However, because this property was developed, the overall tax impact that APS was able to collect in calendar year 2020 was $1.448 million, which is a net increase of $1,274,656 as a result of the incentive and construction for Terminus 200. Rose, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, I would like to turn it over to Chairman Turpo. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. The argument that's always before us is, will they build without incentives? No one can truly prove or disprove that argument, but I can say that without incentives, it becomes less likely, therefore a risky gamble. To those who say they will build anyway, let me show you the hole in that argument. Slide, please. If you look to the right side of the slide, that pit is the hole I'm talking about. 359 East Paces Ferry made headlines when we turned it down because we heard rumblings in the community, even though the presentation's numbers were solid. Here it is today, a hole in the ground, literally the hole in the argument, because they couldn't build anyway. The property originally included a 30,000 square foot office building built back in 1957. The current owner purchased it in 2003, and it had already been vacant for 3 decades at that time. The building was demolished in 2015 due to its age and system obsolescence. Slide, please. Anti-incentivists love this BizNow article that to the left that pushes the "they will build anyway" theory, because the developer was quoted saying they would still build after not receiving an incentive from the DAFC. However, what needs to be understood is developers have different audiences, including investors and potential tenants. Hard to line up investors and tenants if you tell them the project is dead. The reality is on the right side of your screen. It's a letter from the owner saying it can't move forward due to market conditions, and they're considering asking for incentives again. Slide. This is a clear case of when withholding a needed incentive, it led to us missing out on $45 million in new capital investments, over $5.7 million in estimated new property tax, generating 8.3 times what it otherwise would have collected over the 10-year incentive period for all included tax and jurisdictions. Atlanta Public Schools portion of those anticipated new taxes would have been 2.7 million versus 325,000. We could have already locked in 900 permanent full-time jobs and 100 construction jobs. The project was committed to adhering to Livable Buckhead's recommendations by burying power lines, creating pedestrian and bike-friendly accommodations. This project would have also organically created additional security for the surrounding area. All the proposed tax incentives were slated in a manner to make the project more attractive for tenant recruitment and the installation of a plaza with a streetscape that will provide natural landscaping and green vegetation for the enjoyment of users and neighboring properties. Slide. What's next? Slide. We are researching some shortfalls that need to be addressed to improve and expand our services. Needed development south of I-20. Safe and affordable workforce housing, community retention. That's where we need to go. We don't need to stop doing what we're doing, but we need to do more. None of us can actually predict the future, but we can use careful and comprehensive analysis to predict the long-term value of our decisions. Imagine if we work together more often, providing for economic opportunities within the business community and our underserved communities. One is not exclusive of the others. Our corporate partners not only benefit the local economy with their tax dollars, job creation and infrastructure improvements, but also with their vast philanthropic giving of time, talent, and treasure. We all rise together. So in this new year, let's look for new ways to increase the economic opportunities for the communities we serve together. Thank you again for this time and opportunity to reintroduce the Development Authority of Fulton County. We look forward in working closely with you for the betterment of our community. Thank you.